Welcome to Goose Creek Fly Fishing. I'm Trent, and tonight we're going to be tying the Prince Nymph. The Prince Nymph's been around since about the 1930s. It's gone through some changes in that time period, as you can imagine, but it's a wonderful fly. It's a very effective fly and not terribly difficult to tie. So go ahead, sit back, enjoy yourself, and let's get into the tie. All right, I went ahead and put my hook in the vise, and I put a brass, gold brass bead on there, sized to this, to the hook I'm using. So that would vary depending on whatever size hook you want to use. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just taking, this is just some small lead or lead-free wire, whatever you have. And I'm just putting in some wraps. One, to give a little extra weight, and two, it helps to center up the that bead. You slide it into position. So now that we've got that put on, I'm going to go ahead and start with thread. And I'm just using some black thread. I think this is 70 denier. It's whoa, things went a little crazy there. There we go. Just going to tie it in here. That'll prevent that lead from moving. Then I can cover up that lead fairly well. So, as I kind of alluded to in the intro, the Prince Nymph originally was tied by two brothers in Minnesota. And they were the Oslo brothers. I don't recall their names right offhand right now. But these two brothers, they tied what they called the Brown Fork-Tailed Nymph, which is exactly what a Prince Nymph currently has. So for that brown forked tail, I'm just going to use some brown Goose biots. You can just go ahead and select out a couple that you like, clip them off and then you can see there's a concave side with them. So you just want to separate them so you have the concave to its back. And I'll show you what I mean. Well, would show you what I mean if it'd work with me here. Sorry, I'm off camera while I'm trying to make all this work. So this is what you're wanting. See how they're going to fork away from one another, not together. You just slide that down, and I like my tail to extend beyond the tying point, roughly equal to the gap of the hook. So I'm just going to come up. These, if you can't tell, these are very loose wraps. I just want to hold everything in place so I can make sure I have it where I want it. Then I can come through and I can bind it down nice and tight. And that one part of the tail is wanting to rotate away from me. Probably because of the thread torque. Ooh. Sorry about that, my backdrop fell. Do it this way. There we go. So the thread torque kind of twisted that tail a little more than it needed to. So we're just going to go ahead and bind all those down. At this point, I'm going to take a little bit of time, just build up this center of the body a little bit with this thread. Otherwise, I get a fly that's just kind of just looks like a consistent tube of peacock herl, and I want just a little bit of a build there. Okay, come on back, and we're going to roll the fly over. And this fly has a rib of, I use flat mylar tinsel. So this is that stuff you can buy that is gold on one side and silver on the other. So I want silver showing. So I'm going to tie it in with the silver touching the shank of my hook. Just like so. And then just bind that down. And while I'm under here, we'll go ahead and roll that over. Take the thread all the way back to the tail at that tie-in point. Now, I'm going to tie in the peacock herl that I will be using for really the entire body of this fly. So I just take my peacock herl like so, and I like to clip these little tips off. They're pretty weak anyway. And then just catch it and just give some nice wraps to collect that. Just going to go forward. Now we're just going to come up over the top and away from me and just make nice touching wraps all the way forward. So back in the 30s, when the Olson brothers made this Brown Fork-Tailed Nymph pattern that they had, it was popular, it worked well. And then in the 40s, there was a gentleman by the last name of Prince who kind of made some changes to the Olson brothers fly and gave us really the modern nymph, Prince Nymph pattern. Now there's some questions out there. I'm just going to roll this over and clip off that excess peacock. There's some questions out there of what this fly is to imitate. Is it a is it a nymph? Is it a stone fly? Is it just a pure attractor fly? What's it doing? And honestly, I don't have the answer either, but I can tell you it works and it catches fish, so that's all I needed to know. So I'm not a person. I'm not one of those fly tyers that gets too wrapped up in the old fat fingers. That happens, and when it does, just take the time and just wrap it again. There's really no reason to be in a hurry when you're tying your own flies. We're not in production. We're not trying to earn a living. This is supposed to be a relaxing hobby. So I encourage you just to take your time and tie your flies. Alright, so now the next thing we're going to do is there's a lot of different materials that people use here. We're going to put in a collar of brown. So this is actually brown partridge. So I'm just going to tie it in by the tip. Just catch that a few times. And kind of like a soft tackle, I'm only going to want a few turns. I want to stay out of that really long stuff best I can. Put this on a pair of hackle pliers. I'm running out of space for my fingers. So I think that's good. I don't want that real long fibers that I'm getting ready to run into. So we'll just come up, clip that free. Right there. We can pluck out that real long stuff. Now I like to just push all that back and give it some wraps, just to kind of help hold it in, and and push it backwards where I want it to be, just like so. There we go. And now I've seen this tied where people tie it in with just the throat underneath. It's really up to you. I like to just hackle all the way around and then kind of let it flow back. Now, the most predominant thing on this Prince Nymph is the white V wings, which is just white goose biots. So you want to get your 2 goose biots. And I'll take these off camera, and I apologize, but you'll probably figured out how to cut a goose biot off without me showing you, right? So, take your 2 goose biots. There's a couple different videos on how to do this. Just take your 2 goose biots, get a little bit of a cross to them, right, like so. Put them in where you're going to want them to cross. And I like mine not full length back like that. I like mine a little shorter, so something around there. So I'm just working to get these 2 crossed a little more user friendly for me. So right about there. Right, so I'll just put a thumb down to hold them. Just a loose wrap, second loose wrap, third loose wrap, just to hold it, just so I can see where it's at. You can always take your bobbin, do a little manipulation if you want. Now, if your white wing, the V isn't, if they're not even, if one's a little longer than the other one, I don't think the fish is going to care. You can either go with it or take the time to adjust it. I tend to just go with it. Now I'm just giving it a little black kind of thread collar. So last but not least, we'll go ahead and hit this with a whip finish. There we have it. And then we can just flip it off, roll it over on the underside, hit that with some head cement, like so. Alright, so there is the Prince Nymph. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like or subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And until next time, I will see you around the vise.